Thank you, Wally. All right. Good evening, board members and residents. I'd like to call to order our regular board meeting for Monday, February 23rd, 2026. I'd ask that everyone present please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Batkins is asked to be excused. Mr. Brado?
Here.
Ms. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Olgiati?
Here.
Mr. Tominello?
Here.
Mr. Witt here. Mr. Verkust?
Here. Thank you. Next on our agenda is the approval of the consent agenda, including approval of the regular board meeting minutes of February 9th, 2026, approval of the bills in the amount of $1,039,787.32, approval of the January 2026 revenue and expenditure report, presentation of the fourth quarter 2025 treasurer's report, 2026 Phragmites treatment, and brass inventory replacement. Unless there's discussion or questions, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Is there support?
Support.
All right, we've got motion by Mr. Tominello with support by Mr. Olgiati. Discussion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Board. Next on the agenda is approval of the regular agenda. Board members, I did mention prior to the beginning of the meeting, I would like to add a couple of items to the agenda. Item G3, select MMRMA liability policy. And item G4, hire electrical inspector.
Make a motion to approve the regular agenda, adding those two agenda items. The MMR is G3 and the electrical inspector is G4.
Right, is there support?
Support.
We've got motion by Mr. Witz with support by Ms. Brown. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Board. All right, next on the agenda is announcements. Got a few announcements. Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers Community will be hosting a Spotting Scams event. It is free to attendees. It is scheduled for Wednesday, March 25th at St. Hubert Church, I believe in their activity center, from 10 a.m. until noon. To RSVP, please call 586-757-5551. You can also visit the township website for more information. March is reading month, and our township library has lots of exciting programs and fun events happening all month. Please visit the library's website or contact them by calling 586-329-1261 for more information. Also coming up in March, our firefighters, Local 1737, will be hosting their annual Easter egg hunt on Saturday, March 28th at 10 a.m. That'll be on the football field at Lance Cruz High School. If you have any questions, you can reach out to the fire department, 586-466-1450. For more information on these, as well as all other township events, you can call the supervisor's office, 586-466-1445, or visit our website at harrisontownshipmi.gov. Are there any other announcements? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is item D1 from the Water and Sewer Department. One of our water and sewer utility workers resigned from his position recently. The collective bargaining agreement has a provision for two of our utility workers to be promoted to utility worker 3. This selection is based on the selection is based on the selection of the township. It's basically permissive on who we choose. The water and sewer management staff all agree that Joe Gamarez is the best utility worker for this promotion. The promotion is cost neutral since the employee that left was already a utility worker 3. For these reasons, I recommend that we promote Joseph Garamez to Utility Worker 3, effective February 24th, 2026.
Make a motion to approve the promotion of Joe Gomez to Utility Worker 3, effective February 24th, 2026.
Right, is there support?
Support.
All right. Got a motion by Mr. Wick, with support by Mr. Brado. Any discussion on the,
This position right now.
I'm sorry?
What is this position right now?
What, Mr.,
Yeah, Gomez.
yeah, so when you hire in, you're a 1.
Okay.
After meeting certain criteria, you could be promoted to a 2. And in this case, he's currently a 2.
Okay.
So the contract has 2 positions for 3.
Okay.
One of the 3s resigned, and so he would just be moving from 2 to 3.
Okay.
All right?
So is he subject to a probationary period, or is he already bypassed all that?
Yeah, I don't think there's, so let me say this.
Just
To be,
curious.
yeah, so it's a good question. Short answer is no, there isn't a probationary period. The longer answer is the entire utility worker 1, 2, 3 structure was created in the last contract. And in fact, very likely in 2 weeks, we'll be talking about the promotion language to go from a 1 to a 2. So sometimes you write language when you create new language in a collective bargaining agreement, and after you live with it a while, sometimes you go back and say, hey, wait a minute, we need to fine tune this. So we didn't contemplate probation, but these are, in order for you to be a 3, you know, these aren't, you know, you're not going to be a utility worker 3 as a new hire. This is someone who's got some time and experience and knowledge, and it's kind of a way of, that promotion is a way to recognize it. And it's also a mentoring role. And so we made that a part of it because it's important that, you know, you don't go to a water and sewer utility worker school. It's really a lot of training on the job. And so we want those leaders to understand that part of their additional pay is associated with the need to mentor. Okay?
Thank you.
Don't we have a 30-day on promotions?
It could be, there might be, yeah.
I think it's a 30-day on promotions.
There could be something built in when you, that part, you're probably right. I don't recall. But yeah, I think there's a period of time when you move up, you have a chance to move back.
Yeah, I think
And
it's
so
a
forth.
mutual option.
Correct. Yeah, so that's right. And it's never come up in the utility, but it does come up in the clerical, so, but you're right, that language is not unique to clerical. All right, any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Board. Next on the agenda, hiring a water and sewer utility 1 worker. Board members, at the December 15th, 2025 regular board meeting, the board approved to advertise an interview for the utility worker position for the water and sewer department. The supervisor, clerk, treasurer, public services director, and the water and sewer foreman interviewed several candidates for the position. As I wrote this, I did not have the name or the recommendation. We had narrowed it down to a couple individuals. But the individual that they're proposing is Daniel Milson. Starting salary is $52,321.90, or $25.15 per hour, plus benefits. And the hiring is subject to a physical, a drug test, and a 90 working day probationary period. I recommend that we hire Daniel Milson for the water and sewer utility worker 1 position. Any questions, discussion, or motion?
No, I'll make that motion.
Okay. Support?
Support.
Okay. So, you know, just kind of to sort of reiterate, I suppose, no matter who you select in an interview, it really, you know, it's a two-way street. You know, sometimes the folks that we interview come across good, and maybe they don't turn out to be who we thought they were. And sometimes they do turn out to be who we thought they were, but they decide that this job isn't for them. So that 90 working day period works out to be about 5 months. And that's really when we see, you know, whether or not it's a good fit for both of us. So But based on everything we went through, it was a pretty unanimous decision on who we thought was the best candidate. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I've got a motion with support. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Board. Next on the agenda is item E1 from the Treasurer's Office.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. What this is talking about is our security awareness training. If you remember last year, we implemented for the first time an IT security threats training to the team. We did it in two rollouts. We did an A and B rollout last year. The company that supplies the training actually changed their program, so everyone will be able to access the training at one time. We did purchase 87 seats for this training. That's how many employees and township board members who use our IT systems at a cost of $2,923.20. This will be rolled out within the next 3 months, and I'm looking for approval to spend $2,923.20 to fund the 2026 IT Security Awareness Training for 87 Harrison Township team members.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Support.
We've got a motion by Mr. Witt with support by Ms. Brown. Is there any discussion, any questions?
Is it literally going to be set up pretty much the same way as last year?
Yeah, it's all different, but yes, it would be the same thing. It's all done online.
Similar format?
Yep.
Okay. All right, anything else? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Board. Next on the agenda, item F1 from the Clerk's Office.
Yes, thank you. The clerk's office received a request from Harrison Bar and Grill LLC to transfer ownership of the 2025 Class C license with a Sunday sales permit, dance permit, and outdoor service area from Harrison Tap Incorporated, and issue a new SDM license. So they filed all the appropriate paperwork related to the liquor license transfer. They have, I believe, last week they were at Planning Commission, so since the time of the agenda packing, that got approved for recommending for approval, and they were finishing out all their required inspections and everything else with our building department. I think we got that all squared away. So we're just, we'd be recommending approval, or a recommendation of approval to the Liquor Control Commission for this transfer.
I'll make that motion.
Right. Is there support?
Support.
We've got a motion by Mr. Tominello with support by Mr. Brado to approve the transfer of the liquor license. Any questions or discussion on the motion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, this doesn't recall it.
It does.
It
It's
does?
a resolution.
Okay.
Recommending. So,
All right.
so.
Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Backens is excused. Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Mr. Witt? Yes. Mr. Verkest?
Yes. All right, excellent. Thank you. Next on the agenda, item G1. Board members, in 2023, several cannabis growers appealed their property classification as commercial. I asked the board to approve using Hallahan and Associates to represent us in these appeals. We've worked with Hallahan and Associates in the past, and our legal counsel supports this choice. This request was supported by our township attorney. In early 2025, the board approved several invoices for this work, as well as a budget of $10,000 for 2025. I've attached the invoices for the legal fees for 2025, as well as their latest invoice. These are one of these things where they come across a little at a time. So the previous invoices since our last approval total $15,720. So that is beyond that $10,000 threshold. They were small throughout 2025. When this $8,500 one came, I said, gosh, we ought to be getting close, and I realized that we were a few $1,000s over. So Looking for approval for the amount of $15,720 of invoices since the last approval. The approval of the current invoice in the amount of $8,589.50. And I didn't mention a budget. I kind of wanted to leave it up to this board to see how, I guess I should say, how comfortable you are in giving some room. The most recent, I think the invoices indicate in here, I think the most recent one is Court of Appeals, where they're at right now. And then, don't want to put Mr. Huth on the spot because he's not our legal representation here. But if we zoom down to the most recent one, in the month of, so prepare and revise respondents' response to petitioner's Court of Appeals brief. And then the most recent action was received and reviewed order denying petitioner's motion and supporting brief for peremptory reversal and communicate with client regarding the order. So I must confess, when I wrote this, I had intended to reach out to the assessor and get an update, and it slipped my mind, so I don't have
Can we make a motion to pay the existing invoices and table the other portion of it to a future meeting?
Yeah, absolutely, that's a good idea,
I'm
because,
happy to make that motion.
okay, good. So let's just not approve a budgetary, because I meant to have a projection, and I slipped my mind. So is everyone clear on the proposed motion, just to pay the existing invoices? All right, so we got a motion by Mr. Witt. Is there support?
I'll support.
All right, discussion on the motion. Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Board.
Just out of curiosity, how many growers appealed? Like 5 or 6? That's the RJB Enterprise, I'm assuming that's Pleasantries twice.
It is pleasantries, and there's 2 different appeals going.
Okay.
And this is kind of one of those scenarios where our assessor works with the legal counsel, and again, I'm at a bit of a loss. I know that there's 2 of them. I know that there were multiple municipalities and multiple plaintiffs in one of the cases. So in other words, several growers pooled their resources, several municipalities pooled their resources to spread out that cost.
And I could say, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
just reviewing these time entries, it looks like it's going favorable for the township because they're trying to get additional time to file additional pleadings to reverse what's already happened in the case, and that's been denied. So when I say they, I mean the cannabis growers.
The
So,
plaintiffs, yeah.
Yeah, so it looks favorable.
Yeah.
And it sucks paying these, like it does, but like this is our job, right? Like assessing is one of the core functions of the township and it impacts every other taxing entity, and that's why we have to do this.
And sometimes we sit back and we maybe there's an issue that's in the courts, and we say, well, we're not gonna touch that issue right now. And somebody steps in, like I'll say, short-term rentals might be an example of that. There were some communities that took the lead on dealing with short-term rentals, and a lot of times, without legislation or decisions coming from Lansing, it has to go through and be decided through case law. To be fair, we've got a fair number of growers. This is one of those where the growers said, hey, should we be commercial? Should we be industrial? Should we be considered as agricultural? The state hasn't given that definitive guidance to say this is what it must be. So the only other way it's going to be decided is through case law. And so if that happens in your community, it's the cost of doing business. But there is a substantial amount of property tax revenue at stake. And regardless of what I personally think, there's a process for it. You go to court, you argue, there's a state tax commission. but eventually the Court of Appeals is after that.
So after, so I
Right.
think, what I'm saying is it's been favorable so far.
Right, right. So, and it would, I mean, the only other appeal would be State Supreme Court, and they would if have to agree to take it. Very rare. So hopefully we're close.
Are we the first municipality in Michigan that's had this issue? Mr. Huth, I know you're probably more up to date in terms of what's going on, but other municipalities within the state, have they had have they tried these type of cases at all, and what have the results been?
They're all, the cases are all tracking at the same time.
Oh, they are,
It's
okay,
kind of a
okay,
new
okay.
Look, and the reason why it made sense to go with this firm is because they were representing a bunch of clients, and so they're prorating the cost among other clients instead of just having us do it. We do handle some of the things for you, but it didn't make sense here.
And I, based on casual conversations that I've had with my peers through the Michigan Township Association, I don't believe that every municipality is universally classifying grows. To be fair, there are grow operations, I guess you'd say, that are outside and look like corn. You know, there's, you know what I mean? So it's hard to put it all into one thing, and, you know, they put out ballot proposals, and then they let us have to deal with all the, the resulting, you know, things that aren't defined. So I don't think we have a choice on this, but I owe a better explanation, and I will get that. Any other discussion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Board. Next is item G2 regarding maintenance permits. The Macomb County Department of Roads issues a blanket permit in order to allow a work within the right-of-way. This would be primarily for us, water and sewer. The permit is issued every 5 years, and it must be approved by this board. Attached is a resolution approving this request for permission. I recommend the adoption of this resolution. Pretty much took the last resolution we had, made updates to it. It was for actually 6 years ago. They reached out to us saying, hey, it expired and we need you to renew it. So, should be pretty straightforward. Looking for a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Is there support?
Support.
A motion with support to adopt the blanket maintenance permit resolution. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Mr. Backens is excused. Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Witt? Yes. Mr. Verkust?
Yes. Okay, we did add item G3 regarding our coverage through the Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority, I believe, MMRMA. So we've been with them for at least a dozen years from what I could see. And I, as someone who has to work with, you know, with managing risk and working with our adjusters and the people, I'm certainly happy with the coverage that we've had. Previously, we talked about renewing with MMRMA, and so this board did agree to that. Last week, I met with the broker from the agency that, you know, basically the salesperson for this. I think 81 of the 83 counties in Michigan are with MMRMA, and a substantial number of local municipalities. It is a pooled risk, in essence, a Michigan municipal owned, kind of like a mutual organization. Because of the diversity in municipalities, smaller municipalities are treated in one fashion a little bit different than the larger municipalities. And as the bigger municipalities go, some of them have substantial, like a deductible or self-insured retention. We have been in the pool, which is associated with some of the smaller municipalities, and our deductible is pooled with a number of other small or similar sized municipalities, and our deductible is $10,000. We're able to renew our policy with that same coverage, and in fact, that was the recommendation from the broker. So our last year's contribution, basically, say the premium, they don't use that term, was a little over it was $172,582. The renewal comes in at $187,376. But as you might recall, a part of that is, there's a distribution from, not leftover assets, excess assets at the end of the year. So last year, our distribution was $51,869. In 2024, that distribution was $72,644. And in 2023, $49,354. So while we're looking at a premium of $187,000, it's reasonable to think that based on prior years, we might see a distribution, in the mid five figures. We have one case that's been ongoing against, dealing with Five Star. Well, it seems like that should be wrapping up soon. Those costs are in excess of $200,000. And, yeah. And, the loss of the fire truck, which clearly was outside of our control, was about $325,000, maybe $323,000, somewhere in that range. I forget exactly. So clearly, we had some big claims. MMRMA is saying we're getting to the size where we could be in a different class. That's a larger deductible class with a lower premium. And while I have some figures here, the recommendation by the broker was to stick with the existing coverage, but I didn't feel like I could unilaterally make that decision. So I'm bringing to you the alternative for two reasons. One is because it is a board decision, and we can table this and talk about it in 2 weeks because obviously this is something new, but I only learned about it Friday morning. And I had fully expected it to be a renewal of the existing coverage. The other level of coverage, which we will likely be pushed into maybe next year, at least next couple years, is where we have a greater amount of exposure for deductibles, but a lower premium. So our premium would be $167,499 instead of the $187. But we do have to purchase a stop loss coverage for another $8,375. So it's kind of about a $12,000 savings annually. And then what they do is they have a $15,000, they call it a self-insured retention. But it kind of seems like a deductible. Our vehicle coverage definitely changes. We go from a $250 deductible to $1,000 per vehicle, and then an additional self-insured retention of $5,000 per vehicle, $10,000 per occurrence. So a greater exposure there. But that additional stop loss coverage that we buy for $83.75 limits our exposure to $22,500. So currently we have a lesser exposure on vehicles, but we have a $10,000 per occurrence deductible. So the recommendation from the broker was, well, you could go either way. He thought it would be best to stay with the existing coverage. So that's my recommendation to this board. I'm not asking this board to make any changes, right? This is what we anticipated doing, but I also felt like it was worth discussing it because, it's probably coming. If we were going to make a change to go from the same coverage and plan that we've had for the last dozen or so years, I would ask the broker, maybe a year from now or so, to come in and give the board an explanation and give you that opportunity to make that decision.
Now, when is the renewal on this up? When is it due?
It's March 11th.
March 11th?
Yeah, and we do have a meeting March 9th, and he said if it was the will of the board, I could come in and I could, give that presentation, and take it to the next level. And I said, well, we got a meeting coming up Monday, so we have the opportunity. I can explain what's in front of us to the board. The board can consider it, and, you know, it's not a huge difference either way. It's kind of a little bit of apples and bananas, but our experience has been pretty good with the current plan. So I thought, well, I'll ask.
For the 12 grand premium difference, I think it's better to stay where we are. We have more limited exposure to risk at this point, you know, with that current plan. And, you know, for that amount of money, you know, one thing happens, the savings is gone. Right? So,
Well, I just want to add another component I didn't say, is when you go, in essence, what happens is you're going from having a deductible to where you have self-insured retention. So when you go to the next level, you make a contribution into an account that's your account. So what happens is, over a period of time, what MMRMA does is, if we went to this other plan, in addition to paying the premium, we put $17,000 on deposit. It sits in an account earning a modest level of interest. And what they do is they would say, like, as I understand it, each year they would ask us to add to that bucket of money or that pool. As time goes on, what happens is they say, well, listen, we'll cut your premiums even lower since you have this money on deposit, or we're going to increase your self-insured retention. So you're going to gradually, instead of $17,000 and a $22,500 total risk, maybe over the course of 5 years, pretty soon you get $100 grand there, and they say, well, let's raise it up to this much and let's lower your premium. And you almost have you're gradually becoming a little bit more self-insured.
Almost kind of like an HSA account, kind of.
It's sort of like
in
that.
sense.
It's a similar concept, really. It's a good analogy. So I'm sorry, Mr. Ruth.
I was just going to add that our firm is doing work for 3 of the other insurers that are representing municipalities, and are taking over the lease and conduct cases that are driving up the costs here in Michigan. The reason I'm telling you this example is, if you push yourself into that other pool, you're going to be in with communities that have their own police department. So one example, if you say, give me 5, how about if I just give you one from December? When one of your neighbors, we took the case over to the trial, the mandate trial was $87 million against the community. The verdict came back in at $1.5 million in community, and they're all doing cartwheels, they're so thrilled that it was only $4.5 million. Those are the kind of cases that we're seeing. It's very difficult to get them settled. We talked to the jurors afterwards. It seemed like it was justifiable, the police action, but they started with what they wanted to award somebody that was without an eye, put that number there, and they went backwards to the verdict form and found misconduct on the police department so they could award the money. I'm afraid that if we bump into this other pool, we're going to start getting bumped in with those huge cases. That's my thought.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, I think it makes sense to stay where we are. I still believe, you know, based on the pool. So let's just say this. Let's say we find ourselves a few years down the road, regardless of which pool we're in, and we're seeing these conduct cases becoming, you know, I mean, unmanageable at a statewide level. I would love to be a part of the insurance carrier that's exclusively Michigan, that is in a position to lobby our legislators to talk about, you know, how we can manage this. So I still think they're the right company to be with, but I think our best bet is to kind of maintain our course for now and see what happens next year.
So you said this is not a decision that we have to make tonight. We can wait until the next meeting.
Right.
I know this is an add-on. I'm comfortable with the work that you guys have done in terms of vetting it, and I have no problem with what you're saying. I would love to take a look at the paperwork, though, and get a little bit more information, just because it was added on the agenda tonight, and
Sure.
it seems like a lot of information to process.
Absolutely.
At the last minute, I think that we have an idea which direction is the best way to go, but I would love to take a look at it a little closer and decide at the next meeting if possible.
Yeah.
So I'd
So-
like to table it.
Yeah, and we can. The reason why, again, learned about it Friday, didn't know that we would have a choice. And I felt like had we not been given a choice, we would have just renewed it because the board had kind of in essence acted. But we can talk about it in 2 weeks.
I I would like to see it in black and white in front of me so that I can take a look at the information rather than just discussing it in an open meeting like this.
Yep. So, would you want me to ask the broker to give a presentation in 2 weeks, or do you want to just review information?
I don't really need to talk to the broker personally.
Okay.
I think I'm comfortable enough, but I just would like to see it in black and white in front of me, that's all.
So what I can do, so I can do a number of things, but I'm inclined to prepare kind of almost like an email, like, okay, here's a summary of this information, email to the board. I'm not saying that it has to be a part of the board packet, but there's a lot of information and supporting
Sure.
documentation.
Yeah.
And I'm inclined that I would also probably ask the broker to maybe even give us even if it's an email saying, here's the
Yeah.
hit the highlights, here's what the options are, and I can distribute
Yeah.
that and save them the time of that. Let me say, I know Keith would be more than willing to come here, but I wouldn't ask him to come if we didn't need to.
Yeah, I don't know how Liza and David feel about the situation. I know that the full-timers, they have a chance to talk to these people on a regular basis and, then they, I don't know how you guys feel about it if you want.
I'm okay with reviewing it. I think we could do that.
Okay, all right, well, and that's fine, like I say, that, I put it on, and I said in the beginning, he said, well, we could wait till the 9th, and I said, okay, and so, I think I don't think this board is wavering on their willingness to continue with MMR.
No,
Right?
no.
And so I can ask him to kind of summarize it, put it forth, and then we'll talk about it in 2 weeks.
I think that's perfect.
Okay, good. All right, good. Then the last item is item G4 regarding the electrical inspector. Again, this was something that, actually, I don't remember, it might have been Thursday or Friday. I think it was Friday. Brent, our building official, had received a resignation letter either the end of that week or by Monday, I don't remember, about a week ago. And, kind of got to scramble a little bit. And this is, I'll pause and say, our trades inspectors, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing, we don't have enough work, really have a full-time, we just don't have full-time amount of work. I don't think we've had full-time inspectors since I've been supervisor. I think we might have been the dual mechanical plumbing guy might have retired right around my time. But again, 15, 16 years, we part-time inspectors. And, you find maybe someone either who's retired or someone who might say, well, I'll take 3 or 4 different communities to generate enough work. Sort of, I should say, semi-retired. Anyways, we did recently receive a resignation from our mechanical inspector, so we're working on trying to find someone for that position as well. And we have historically on, sometimes if someone's maybe on a short-term illness, we'll bring someone else in from another municipality. But I am proposing that we would hire on a part-time basis Chaz Miraszewski? I'm not sure. I met him Friday, but I just introduced him by his first name, and so he's currently working part-time with Mount Clemens. He has some other things, and for the time being, he figures he could give us about a half a day on Mondays and Fridays, and so in the past, when we've had a need, we've might have brought somebody on board, but again, knowing that this is it's a name and it's something, formal, it would be wrong, it felt like it would be wrong for me not to bring it to this board today, even though it is a short notice, to say that this is the person. They thought about it over the weekend, they gave us a call and said, yep, you think I could pick up half a day, 2 days a week. For now, that'll keep us going. We are Stephanie posted on a handful of websites where inspectors, for training, different groups that they're involved in. So we're casting the net for an electrical and a mechanical inspector currently, but this is a name of one individual, so I'd just be looking for a motion to approve the hiring of this individual.
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there support? Okay. Any discussion on that? So these are, we're kind of at the will of a part-time person. The fellow that gave his resignation could very well agree to come back if health allows it, but for now, this gets us moving forward, so.
I believe Chaz was the individual that helped my wife with a house in Mount Clemens. He was excellent,
Okay, good,
very
excellent.
helpful.
Yeah, right, well, that's good to hear. Any other discussion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Board. At this time, we'll move on to public comment. We'll open up the floor for public comment. It could be about any subject you like. We'd ask that you try to limit that to 5 minutes in length.
Yes. C. William Bardell, 29-year resident, clean cut, do-gooder boy next door, clean up, fix up, people helping people. Just want to remind everyone, check out Save Lake St. Clair on Facebook, stay up to date, like and follow, and there's a little bit of reading material there for you. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no other public comment, we'll close the floor for public comment. Any further board comment? Hearing none, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, is there support?
Support.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries, meeting adjourned. Thank you, Board. Wow.